The total solar eclipse on April 8, 2024 will be a significant astronomical event visible across North America. While eclipses are natural phenomena, they often bring with them a sense of wonder and unusual occurrences, especially from a human and natural world perspective.
Yeah, and there's some crazy biblical and, let's just say, weird emergency preparedness announcements happening. So buckle up, man.
Oh, that means we got to come up to solutions for all of them. So let's not waste any time, John. You ready to jump right in?
Let's go.
Firstly, I'm going to present what we are most likely to experience on April 8th when this eclipse comes about. First, we're going to see sudden darkness. One of the most dramatic effects of a total solar eclipse is the sudden darkness that falls over the landscape in the path of totality. This mimics a very rapid sunset, confusing wildlife and affecting human perception. The temperature can drop noticeably, which is an eerie feeling in the middle of what was a day. Secondly, animal behavior changes. Animals often react to the sudden darkness and temperature drop in unexpected ways. Birds may stop singing, thinking it's dusk and time to roost. Nocturnal animals may be active and come out, believing it's night. This alteration in the daily rhythm of wildlife can be both fascinating and strange to observe. I mean, crickets are just going to start croaking out of nowhere. Additionally, there's shadow bands. Just before and after totality, you might see shadow bands, which are elusive, wavy lines of alternating light and dark that can be seen moving on plain-colored surfaces. These are caused by the atmosphere's effect on the sunlight. Observing them requires a bit of luck and the right conditions, but they're a peculiar sight, to say the least. The 360-degree sunset is also an interesting aspect that we'll have. Around the horizon, you may witness what looks like a sunset in every direction. This is because during totality, the only sunlight you can see is being filtered through the Earth's atmosphere at the edges of the eclipse's path, creating a unique, all-encompassing twilight effect. Fifthly, the diamond ring and Bailey's beads. Just before the moon completely covers the sun, the last rays of sunlight can shine through the lunar valleys, creating a dazzling effect known as the diamond ring. Additionally, you'll have changes in human behavior. I mean, we're 80% water, and we know how the moon impacts the oceans and lakes, creating waves. And we all know how the moon impacts us. I mean, just a little side point, police officers will actually have the moon calendar within their work schedule because it has such an impact on their daily routine and their interactions with people. And finally, there will be this increased interest in astronomy. Eclipses often spark an increased interest in astronomy and space among the general public. People who might not usually think about celestial events can find themselves captivated by the science and spectacle of an eclipse, leading to a surge in public engagement with astronomy. While the eclipse itself is a predictable astronomical event, the ways in which the natural world and humans respond to it can be unpredictable and fascinating. Whether it's your first time observing an eclipse or you're a seasoned veteran, there's always something new and intriguing to the experience. But now we need to go headfirst into the rabbit hole and see what craziness may also come with this eclipse. John, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Alex. I just felt like I was on the news. No, so I went two different directions here. We got emergency preparedness, weird, strange, like what the F? Why do we have to go to such extremes to be prepared for a solar eclipse? And then the other part is more rabbit hole, where it's biblical and astrological, and possibly could talk to the weird warnings we're getting. So emergency preparedness. So local governments are preparing for an influx of visitors during the April 8th solar eclipse. So with one Oklahoma county inviting the National Guard for support. However, social media posts baselessly claim that the preparations suggest something catastrophic will occur during the eclipse. So it's like nothing to see here, but prepare. And then another one, I think it's in your neighborhood. Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio, your neighborhood, signed Executive Order 2024-04D to ensure health and safety of all Ohioans during and after the eclipse. Various state agencies are working together to prepare for the event, expecting hundreds of thousands of visitors to the state. So, a preparedness executive order for visitors? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Has that? I mean, you're in Ohio. Has that ever happened in past eclipses?
So here's what's interesting, and this is why I reserve my alarm in this particular situation. If you recall, Trump got ridiculed at the last eclipse because he was that dummy just looking at it. He didn't have the glasses on. He's gonna go blind. He's gonna go blind. We have a dead guy running the country. We're worried about that president going blind. That being said, at that time, it wasn't even anywhere near a full-blown eclipse like we're going to experience. It was just the moon going in front of it at an angle at which we could see, with proper glasses, this effect. But what's interesting is if you're within the band, and the map is on the screen here, but there is a strict band that goes from the southwest corner of the country to the northeast corner of the country, and really it goes right through Lake Erie, right through Cleveland. So Cleveland itself, in regards to Ohio, like DeWine, Columbus is not going to be as impacted severely Cincinnati's out of it compared to Columbus. We are the epicenter of the band in regards to Ohio. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of preparedness. It's been a focal point on our news, but that's because this phenomena had only been really... The only time this has been experienced in a similar fashion was like 20, 30 years ago. And there were some people locally that I had spoken with that were like, college kids, and at that time, that hopped in their car and went to Georgia, which at the time it was the opposite, and the band went right through Georgia. And they said it was insane that just cars in everybody from out of the country, because again, Canada's not going to, a corner of Canada is going to get it, but nobody is really going to have that impact as north as us, at least west of us. So as high north as we are, west, they're not going to have the experience we are. So you're going to have people from Illinois or even further west. I mean, who knows? Who knows how many hippies without a life are going to be able to go? I mean, dude, let me tell you this. Schools all over the place are shut down because, and the court was shut down for half a day. And then we ended up, I'm with it as an administrator, I'm within the dialogue of the two judges to determine how we're going to move forward with this. And so it was only going to be a half a day. No matter how badly I wanted it to be a full day, it was only going to be a half a day. What compelled them to change wasn't some occult, conspiracy. It was reports to these arbiters of truth, these deciders. They were taking in all of these reports telling them that traffic is going to be insane. So having a half a day off defeats the purpose if we still all have to leave work 3 hours before the place goes crazy. Apparently, the whole weekend, the place is going to be nuts. So as much as I want to read into it, because ironically, I just saw a video 2 days ago of a man on a hike in Las Vegas, right outside of Las Vegas, and their train tracks were bringing in droves of tanks. It's like, all right, well, you don't want to think too much into that, because it's like, okay, we know we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of tanks, and you're in Las Vegas, Area 51, and everything. You're where we keep the missiles. So, I'm not too... But that was just a couple days ago. So within this realm, you're seeing schools shut down, kids will be out. When's the last time you've seen something like this? When we stopped the world with a world pandemic. So I can see reason for being alarmed, but I personally am not as necessarily alarmed with the National Guard or the executive orders by the governor, because at least the narrative behind its explanation being there's going to be a ton of people. Having spoken to people here that were hippies at the time that were able to experience it in other states, they say it's a very real experience. That we're gonna be standing here, and it's just gonna go dark, and then it's gonna be like nothing you've ever experienced. So what's funny is like my dad, who really, he's an engineer, doesn't get out much, lives in Ohio. This guy is like, oh come on, I've seen a million eclipses. This is nothing. And it's like when you talk to the nerd or the hippie that chases these, they're like, no. You've literally never experienced an eclipse in this fashion to this degree. So not only will this be one of the strongest eclipses to date, but then even more so, being in the band, like if we just happen to be having this dialogue and I'm in Nashville, it's a totally different conversation. Whereas it's like, Dad, you're trying to talk, like get through his head. Nashville is not having the crazy, daily news like we have and everything else because they're not located. We are just lucky to be in this one window of time. And I really notice, again, the other examples you bring in, they're also within that band. So, like, we aren't having this alarming perspective in Seattle or, somewhere in Montana or, Florida. It's very restricted. So I don't know, long-winded, but that's my response.
No, I mean, a lot of what you said, because I kind of am in the band. I got to look at it again.
Yeah, you are. You're like where it starts to, you're in it, but it's where it starts to blur out.
Yeah.
Like it pitters
I'm
out
gonna have to, I got to decide how I want to handle it myself. Do I want to be in traffic?
Hey, maybe you should come to Cleveland and do a podcast with your homie.
So you have the logic, okay, yes, you're going to have a high influx of people. That's the very logic driven part. That's not the rabbit hole. Here's the rabbit hole. So, and to be very blunt and straight up honest, I watched a couple of videos and I was, again, battling the anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna die, or the devil's coming, like this, the judgment day, right? That is like the talk. And I found this really good like breakdown, and I plugged it into ChatGPT, and I was just break down the highlights. So I got highlights for you, and I'm gonna do my best to break down what they were saying, because there's a lot of interesting connections physically and historically. And so the first one, I want to give Jim Staley Passion for Truth Ministries credit, because they went in. So essentially their content, it opens with, yes, there's going to be a solar eclipse on April 8th, but it also suggests part of a larger celestial event and possibly biblical implications. First up is Hebraic roots of Christian faith. So I'm pretty much just going over the highlights, but the guy talks about how his exploration of these roots, this Hebraic roots of Christianity, and they emphasize how it's part of God's calendar and feast days, which are prophetic and transformative. So instead of the 30-day calendar that we have, there's a different calendar of events that are in the Bible, of major events happening, and this falls in line with those major events, as in a repeat of the past. Let's continue. Solar and lunar eclipses as biblical signs. In the Bible, there have been other eclipses that are associated to major events, usually negative. So yeah. So think of it as signs, an omen in the bottle, in the Bible, associated to major earthly and spiritual shifts. Historic eclipses and their impact. So they go into the blood moon of 4 consecutive lunar eclipses, and also the correlation of historical events. So there's patterns of past wars and rebirths linked to these celestial occurrences. Specifically for us.
Oh, good. So this will mark World War III.
Yeah, I think when we had a civil war, it was right around a certain situation. Our first civil war was right around a double eclipse where it X'd across the U.S. And this one is completing that X. So you have
Oh,
Yes, where it gets freaky.
that makes sense.
And then to your point, the energetics of that makes sense because yes, cops do have a calendar, and I have a firefighter friend, and he can attest to this. That yes, what do you call? Why do you call people lunatics? The lunar, it's a tick. You're going crazy. There is an energy associated to it. If you believe in anything, remember you have the tides of the seas and the coast. The tide goes in, the tide goes out, and it's specifically correlated to our lunar cycles. Did you want to add something? I feel like you were getting ready to say something.
Oh no, I'm just riding the wave.
Literally, that's good. Good phrase. This part we might have to ask AI to go deep into this, but the prophecy of Gog and Magog war. So there's a narrative that connects these eclipses to the prophesized Gog and Magog war. So it points out that there's a similar pattern over Turkey, suggesting that these are signs of upcoming conflicts based on that biblical prophecy. Again, the Civil War.
He's a Greek guy. Take him out.
Yeah.
Take him out.
There's also a comet. So on top of the sun and the moon blocking each other, you have a comet. And do you know what the comet's called or it's referred to?
Tell me.
Devil's Comet.
I was gonna say Lucifer. Oh my God. How would I know? It's almost like we have like an infatuation. I would never have guessed. I was literally gonna say Lucifer. That's too funny.
Yeah. So to bring it all together,
Wow.
the belief is that this is a call for repentance and preparation for believers, interpreting these celestial signs as a warning of potential judgment and a call to return to the biblical faithfulness. Essentially, like a sign, it's one of those things where there's energetics and physical things coming together, and a shaking could be something that stimulates an earthquake. The line that this one is going, like the band that you speak of, is awkwardly riding the line of the mountainside, which is, I forgot what you call that, the plates, like it's riding the plates, like it's surfing
tectonic plate.
the tectonic plates, which is also freaky deaky. So I can only imagine some people are like being prepared in a completely different direction. And I would say, if at the very least, listen to the advice of, hey, you know what? Shit's going to get crazy. It's going to get busy. There may be a line for gas because everybody's trying to go somewheres to see the eclipse. Do not look at it straight. Have those glasses. Record it for entertainment purposes, but at the very least, be prepared for some crazy activity. Back to you, Alex.
No, I love to hear that. That's a great perspective to present it. That being said, my final solution would be, clearly you're not going to be, if let's say Satan's coming tomorrow and he's just like, Antichrist,
That's his calling?
like, guess what? You're not doing anything. Like, there's literally nothing you could do Sunday to prepare for Monday. I think the bedrock of all of this is a natural preparedness. You know, John and I have done solutions for when the grid goes down, when the food source gets polluted. I mean, go through the series, there's been tons of them. That being said, just having an instinctive bedrock to preparedness, like having, you know, your necessities, toilet paper, toothpaste, towels, water, canned food, I don't know. Have a couple cows just in case you need to feed yourself. I don't know. That being said, you got to be prepared. What if something does happen to the power grid that goes down, or, you know, anarchy persists, or the Antichrist comes a knocking to trick or treat? I don't know. But that being said, you can't do nothing. So all I'm saying is go outside and enjoy it. Go have a barbecue. It's going to become darkness. Come to my crib. It's going to be Cleveland over here. It's going to be dark and cool. So everybody and their neighbors come just to hang out with me in Cleveland. So enjoy it. Go outside, and when the whole world goes to burn, at least you could say, yeah, I had a bourbon and a cigar, and it was cool.
Yeah, don't fall victim to your intrusive thoughts.
Yeah. So that all being said, guys, I appreciate you following us. If this made you laugh or made you think, you're getting excited for this this great event coming about us, the best thing you could do is share this link. Copy and paste that and spread it around, because if we made you laugh or you enjoyed it, that means somebody else you know will too. And that's the best way to support what we're doing here. That being said, though, John, where can they find you?
NewAgeHuman.com or on Instagram at Jon Astacio, JONASTACIO.
God bless. Go ahead and check them out there. There's a lot. Don't miss it. That being said, guys, we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and every Sunday at 9 a.m. So don't miss our live shows. But there's plenty of other content like Rethink Solutions. So you can catch everything at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. Don't forget to jump into the comments so we can see your thoughts. What do you think about what's coming? And a way to get a solution for it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Dangle notification bells. Otherwise, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.